Hi everyone, welcome back to class. Happy New Year. I'm so glad you're here. Whether you're starting your yoga practice fresh for this new year or you're coming back again after last year, welcome. Today we're continuing with our theme of I can begin anew. I always love New Year's Day as a day to start fresh, make some goals, and see what you can accomplish. So, since we're starting fresh, I thought it would be a great time to review Sun Salutations together in our Vinyasa class this week. So no props are required for this class, but as always, you can incorporate any kind of props you might like to use in your regular practice. So if you'd like to grab any blocks or a blanket, feel free, and then come back and meet me in a gentle seated position. Sit up nice and tall, close your eyes. As always, beginning with some breathing to calm our minds, starting fresh with our yoga practice. So just take a moment right now to focus on the breath. The gentle ins and outs of the breath, not trying to force any specific kind of breathing right now, just checking in, seeing how it feels to sit here and just be quiet with your body. We always want to begin our yoga practice with a beginner's mind. And that just means that no matter how long you've practiced, whether it's 1 year or 10 years, you can always learn something new about yourself, about your body, and about what you're capable of as a human. Even as a yoga teacher myself, I'm always constantly learning, being open to new ideas, being open to changing my mind, always being a beginner. Maybe slowly starting to deepen the breaths, cultivating that ujjayi breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, making that oceanic sound at the back of the throat. Taking 5 more deep breaths here. One more breath all together. Deep inhale all the way to the top. And exhale. Slowly open the eyes, coming back to the room. Hopefully feeling more calm and centered and ready to move our bodies. So go ahead and transition to hands and knees in a tabletop position. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, moving through a few cat and cows all together. So inhale to arch the back, gaze forward. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, round the spine, chin towards chest. Press the back of the heart up towards the ceiling. Inhale, arch the back, gaze forward. Exhale, tuck and round. Moving back and forth with your own breath. Trying to cultivate that breath to movement that we love so much in our Vinyasa classes. Couple more back and forth each way. Inhale to arch. Exhale, round. Once more, inhale, arch. And exhale, round. Very nice. Coming back towards a neutral tabletop. Tuck the toes, and we'll send the hips up and back to downward facing dog. First one of the day, so pedal out the feet. Bend and extend the legs. Move the hips around. Any little movements to help you feel more comfortable in your downward facing dog. This is one of our foundational poses, not just in Sun Salutations, but in our Vinyasa practice as a whole. So don't worry so much about the heels touching the ground. You can always keep a bend in the knees here, sending the hips straight up and back, tailbone towards the ceiling. Press into all four corners with the hands, claw the ground with the fingertips, solid foundation in the hands, lengthen the back of the neck. Find a way to feel sustainable in your downward facing dog. Settling your movements if you haven't already. Taking a few breaths here. Always coming back to the breath. Always starting fresh with each inhale. From here, bend both knees and look forward at the hands. And just slowly tiptoe forward. All the way to the top of your mat, as many steps as it takes. Widen out the feet to at least as wide as your yoga mat. Generous bend in both knees here as we sink into our forward fold, ragdoll. You can keep the hands down on the mat or grab opposite elbows. Maybe sway side to side for a ragdoll. It's less about the hamstring stretch here and more about draping the torso over the thighs, letting gravity elongate the spine, dropping the head towards the ground. Two more breaths here. Inhale. Exhale, one. Inhale. Exhale, two. Settle your movements. Lower the hands down towards the mat. And heel toe the feet in about hips width distance. Maybe a little wider. Nice strong stance. On the inhale, hands on the shins, lengthen the spine forward. So one long line of energy from the hips, out through the spine, through the back of the neck, and out of the crown of the head. On the exhale, fold forward once again over the legs. Inhale, sweep the arms up, lift the torso. Press hands together overhead for upward salute. And exhale, draw the hands towards the chest and out towards the sides, meeting in Tadasana mountain pose at the top of your mat. This is our starting position for Sun Salutation A, which we're going to go through today. Sun Salutations are just a great foundation for starting your Vinyasa yoga practice. It's kind of where I always go to when I'm not sure what kind of yoga I want to do today. If I'm out of ideas, Sun Salutations are a great place to start because you can always add on. So taking a moment here in our Tadasana mountain pose and just going through our alignment here, starting with the feet, pressing each toe into the ground, super solid foundation here. Feeling grounded through the feet, the connection of the feet into your mat, into the earth. Keeping a slight micro bend in the knees here, a little buoyancy. And then take a look at the hips, the tailbone. We don't want to stick the booty out. We don't want to tuck it too much. So we want to find a little somewhere in the middle. So feel free to move the pelvis forward and back a few times, and then find somewhere in between. I like to think of lengthening my tailbone down towards the ground, so a slight lift in the pelvis. Arms by the sides, palms forward. Getting nice and tall through the spine here, slight engagement in the abdominal muscles as we lift the pelvis. Sink the shoulders down away from the ears, lengthen through the neck, out of the crown of the head. This is our Tadasana mountain pose. Take one deep breath here. Inhale all the way to the top. And exhale, sigh it out. Now we're ready for Sun Salutation A. Here we go. Inhale, sweep the arms up, press the palms together, upward salute. Exhale, hinge from the hips and fold forward over the legs. Forward fold. Inhale, hands on the shins, lengthen the spine forward. Exhale, plant the hands down and step back to plank pose. Now let's take a moment here. Make sure our wrists are ready. So lean forward and back a few times, putting pressure on the hands, pressing into all four corners, especially that pointer finger mound. Maybe moving left to right. Make some circles. Letting our body know we're about to do some work. Settling your movements. For this first chaturanga, lower the knees down. So on the inhale, claw the fingertips into the mat and drag the shoulders forward slightly over the wrists. From here, exhale, bend the elbows straight back and lower the chest all the way down on the mat. From here, moving towards our back bend. So widen out the feet, nice and wide. Hands pressing into the mat underneath the shoulders. On the inhale, use those back body muscles to lift the chest slightly. Lengthen through the back of the neck. This is our baby cobra. Just a slight back bend here. Opening through the shoulders. Take one more inhale, lift. And on the exhale, lower the forehead down. From here, inhale, press into the hands. Lift up to the knees. Tuck the toes. Send the hips up and back, downward facing dog. Taking 5 deep breaths here. Reconnecting. That was our Sun Salutation A. So we're going to go through that a few more times just to really make it flow before we move on. One more deep breath all together. Inhale. And exhale. Nice. Now bend the knees, gaze forward at the hands. You can step or hop forward to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, upward salute. Press the palms together overhead. And exhale, Tadasana mountain pose. Now we're going to go through that a little bit faster this time. More movement to breath. Inhale, sweep the arms up, press the palms together. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, plant the hands, step back, plank pose, knees lifted or lowered. Exhale, lower through chaturanga. Inhale to up dog or baby cobra. Knees lifted or lowered. Exhale, send the hips up and back. Downward facing dog. 5 breaths here. Always taking this time, going back to our foundation. If none of this is new to you, remember to cultivate that beginner's mind. We can always learn something new, find something we never thought about before. Yoga is all about constantly learning, being open to new perspectives. One more breath here. Inhale. Exhale. Bend both knees, gaze forward. Step or hop, top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, upward salute, palms together. And exhale, arms by the sides. Tadasana, mountain pose. One more time, Sun Salutation A. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back. Move through your chaturanga. Exhale to lower. Inhale, back bend, baby cobra or up dog. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. 5 breaths, reconnect. With every vinyasa, remembering we can start fresh. We can begin anew. No matter how that last flow went, every flow is a new opportunity. One more breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Bend through both knees, gaze forward. Step or hop, top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up, press the palms together. Exhale, arms by the sides, Tadasana. Great job, everyone. I think it's time to move on to Sun Salutation B. So we start off with the same kind of movement. We just add a little bit more on. So first time through, a little bit slower, and then we'll add in a little bit faster pace. So as always, starting in Tadasana mountain pose, home base. Take one deep breath here. Inhale. And exhale. Tuning in. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Lengthen through the side body. On the exhale, bend the knees and sit the hips straight back for chair pose. Imagine there's an invisible chair that you're trying to sit on without using your arms. And just hips straight back. So same thing, we don't want to stick the booty out. We don't want to tuck it in. We want to find somewhere in between. Knees tracking approximately over the toes. Take an inhale, draw biceps by ears. Exhale, sink a little lower. One more breath here. Inhale. On the exhale, lower hands to the mat and straighten the legs. Forward fold. Inhale to halfway lift, familiar stuff. Exhale, plant the hands. Step back to plank. As always, knees lifted or lowered. Exhale, lower through chaturanga. Inhale, baby cobra or up dog. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Here's where we're going to add on some more with warrior one. So inhale, draw the right foot up and back, toes point down. Exhale, draw knee to nose, step forward between the hands. Lower that left heel. Inhale, sweep the arms up, biceps by ears for warrior one. So torso facing forward. Right knee is bent, tracking over the toes. Biceps by the ears, elongating through the side body. Take a few breaths here, challenging the bend in that right knee. The left heel is lowered. If you feel like you're on a tightrope, you can always Scooch that right foot out. Make room for the hips here. Make yourself feel stable by widening the base. One more breath. Inhale, reach up. On the exhale, lower both hands to the mat. Frame the front foot. Step back to downward facing dog. And we'll move through Vinyasa. Inhale, move forward, plank pose. Exhale, lower chaturanga. Inhale, up dog, baby cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Straight over to the left side. Inhale, left foot up and back, toes point down. Exhale, draw knee to nose. Step forward between both hands. Lower that right heel. Inhale, sweep the arms up, warrior one. Left knee bent this time. Right heel lowered to the mat. Widen out the feet if needed. Gazing forward. Take a couple breaths here to really sink into your warrior one. Very powerful pose. Take one more inhale. On the exhale, lower the hands, frame the front foot. Step back, downward facing dog. And again, moving through your vinyasa. Now feel free, as always, you can skip this and just lower down to child's pose. Take a rest. Listen to your body. Every vinyasa is always optional. If you want to move on, forward plank pose. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Everyone meeting back in downward dog, wherever you are. Taking 5 deep breaths to reset. Check in with your alignment here. Use your beginner's mind. What am I neglecting about the foundations of my practice? Two more breaths. Inhale. Exhale, 1. Inhale. Exhale, 2. From here, bend the knees, gaze forward. Step or hop, top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Now watch here. Inhale, reach the arms up and sit back in the invisible chair. Inhale, biceps by ears. Exhale, sink a little lower. Lengthen the tailbone back. On the next inhale, straighten the legs, reach up. And exhale, arms by the sides, Tadasana. Take a moment here, close your eyes. One hand to heart, one hand to belly. Feel the heat you've created. Feel that heartbeat. Taking a moment to really appreciate all this hard work. Starting fresh is not easy. Beginning again is a lot of work, but it's so, so worth it. Take one more deep breath all the way to the top. And exhale, sigh it out. Open the eyes, coming back to Tadasana Mountain Pose. We're going to go through Sun Salutation B. A little faster this time. More breath to movement. Here we go. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, bend the knees, sit back, chair pose. One breath here. Inhale, open the shoulders. Exhale, straighten the legs and fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step back. Move through your vinyasa, so lowering through chaturanga. Inhale to your back bend. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right foot up and back. Exhale, draw knee to nose, step forward, warrior one. Set up your base. Inhale, reach up. One breath. On the exhale, lower the hands, frame the front foot. Step back, downward facing dog. Stay here to rest or move through a vinyasa. Always optional. Making the vinyasa work for you. Everyone eventually meeting back in downward facing dog. We'll do the left side. Inhale, left foot up and back. Exhale, knee to nose, step forward. Setting up warrior one. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, sink in. One breath here. Inhale, reach. Exhale, lower hands, frame the front foot. Step back, downward facing dog. One more vinyasa all together. We got this. Plank pose. Exhale, lower. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. From here, lower the knees. Sink the hips back. Give ourselves a moment of rest here in child's pose. So lower the forehead to the mat. Close the eyes. Child's pose has always felt super grounded for me. But if this isn't comfortable, just know that that's perfectly normal. There's different ways that you can do child's pose. If sinking the hips all the way back isn't comfortable for you, you need more space, you're always welcome to lift the heels, the hips off the heels. Give yourself more room. Maybe even walk the hands forward and lower the chest for more of a puppy pose. So wherever you are, just taking deep breaths, always reconnecting, always starting fresh with every breath you take. If you're in traditional child's pose, you can bend the elbows, hands together overhead, maybe walk the elbows forward a little bit for a little extra stretch for the arms. Sinking the chest down towards the mat, resting the forehead down, giving yourself the space to breathe. Slowly lower forearms to mat. Plant the hands down. And take an inhale to lift up to tabletop pose. Maybe move through a few cat and cows on your own breath. Taking your time here, moving nice and slow. Settling your movements into a neutral tabletop. Tuck the toes. Send the hips up and back for one final downward facing dog. Deep inhale here. Deep exhale. Maybe take a moment to notice how your downward facing dog has changed since the beginning of class. Maybe you feel a little bit more space in the back of the legs, a little stronger in the arms. Maybe not, just noticing without any judgment where you're at. From here, slowly tiptoe the feet forward, all the way to the top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Exhale to fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up, upward salute, palms together. And exhale, arms by the sides, Tadasana, mountain pose. Last one of the day, really appreciating it. From here, we're moving into our cool down. So widen the feet out. We're gonna sink into a yogi squat. So toes pointing slightly out. Hands together at heart center. On the exhale, bend the knees and sink the hips down. Elbows pressing in the insides of the thighs. Now this can be really challenging for a lot of people. So if you have blocks, you can always stack those up. Sit the hips down on blocks for a little extra support. Or just let the hips hang wherever you are. Lengthening through the spine, opening the shoulders. Use the elbows to press the knees out. Sinking into that hip stretch. If you've got blocks, move them out of the way. From here, place one hand behind you and just sit down on the mat, however you can get there. Let the legs just extend in front of you, moving towards a seated forward fold. So inhale, reach the arms up, lengthen through the spine, through the side body. On the exhale, think about hinging from the hips once more. Lengthening forward as far as you can get. Then when you've hit your limit, just let the back naturally round. You can grab onto the shins or the outsides of the feet. Bow the head forward and sink into the fold. On your next inhale, slowly lifting one vertebrae at a time, coming back up to a seat. Then we'll lower down onto the mat, onto our backs. Draw the knees into the chest, hug them in nice and close, maybe sway side to side. Make some circles with the knees in one direction. And circles in the other direction. Nice massage for the low back. Settling back towards center. We're going to move towards a supine twist. So lower both knees over to the right. Shins stacked on top of each other. Reach the left arm out towards the left. And just enjoy the twist. You can gaze over at that left hand for an extra neck stretch. Slowly lifting the knees back up to center, and we'll switch sides. Lower both knees over to the left, stacking legs on top of each other. Draw right arm out to the right, nice and long. Maybe gaze over at that right hand for a neck stretch. Supine twist on the left side. Drawing the knees once again back towards center. Give them a nice squeeze. And then let the legs stretch out long, setting up for our final resting pose of Shavasana. Let the feet flop out to the sides. Feel free to grab a pillow for the head, a blanket for the body, if it's cold where you are, anything to help you feel more comfortable here. All of those poses were a workup to our final meditation. Now that our body has gotten all the wiggles out, it's prepared to calm the fluctuations of the mind using meditation. Close the eyes, settle in, breathing naturally. And stay here in Shavasana for as long as you'd like. Thank you for joining me once again for a Vinyasa flow class. I'll be back with a new Vinyasa class on Wednesday. And make sure to join me on Friday for our weekly gentle yoga class.